Hello, it's Shova from Just Go Places, and today I want to show you around the pretty little city of Narbonne, which is in the south of France, but heading southwest, closer to Toulouse. It has had a very long history because it was a major Roman city, and then now it's more of a smaller city, and it is super pretty. So I'm going to show you 7 cool things to do in Narbonne that you really have to do when you're in the city. So let's check it out, shall we? Okay, so what is Narbonne? Where is Narbonne? Narbonne is located in southern France in the Occitanie region. It's between Montepellier and Perpignan. It's closer to the Mediterranean Sea than Carcassone, which you may have heard of. As you enter the city, you're greeted by the Promenade, which lies on the banks of the Canal de la Robine, which is a sub-branch of the Canal du Midi, and splits the city into 2, the oldest part and the newer part. On the plus side, under the Promenade, there's lots of parking if you're driving. When we were there was an outdoor flea market and hundreds of stalls and lots of clothes, tableware, etc. Everything except food. For the food, you need to go to Les Halles, which is at the end of the Promenade. It claims to be one of the prettiest markets in France and opened in 1901, and it's a cast iron structure with, a soaring roof, and it feels very spacious and light. It is a lot like other markets we've seen, to be fair though, and the food is amazing as well. There are over 70 stalls with local specialties as well as general items such as butchers and bakers. And I was, of course, mesmerized by the variety and options for cheese from all over France. As you can see, they have a little bit of everything, and there are vegetarian options, but this is France, so there is a lot of meat, and there are also great seafood available. And of course, the famous French rotisserie chicken. So you can get places to eat and drink within Les Halles, and everything is cooked fresh for you. So the English major in me was going to make a joke about the Horreum. I have no idea what a Horreum was, but I have just found out it's a Roman warehouse. So it's actually kind of super cool, and an underground cellar sort of thing, and completely explains why there are amphora on the way into town, because there are lots of amphora and other things stored here for the forum nearby. To access the Horreum, you need to go through their little museum and then down the stairs, because the Horreum actually lies 5 meters below street level. There's a series of underground rooms and hallways from the 1st century BC, and remarkably well preserved, and a feat of Roman engineering. Narbonne was so important during Roman times, for example, that Julius Caesar settled his legion's veterans here. And Narbonne eventually had between 30 to 50,000 people during Roman times. It was the capital of this Roman region. There are some tasteful displays showing how the Horreum would have looked back then. And it's mostly storage for wine, oil, and other items that you could sell at the forum nearby. Okay, so here I am on the Roman road via Domitia. This is a bit of the original road that connected France and Spain during Roman times. Narbonne at the time was super important because the River Aude flew nearby, and it was an important port. The Aude changed course naturally, and then it became not so important. So the biggest thing in town is the Palace of the Archbishops and Cloister and Cathedral complex. You simply cannot miss it. It's similar to the setup for the popes in Avignon in nearby southern France. So there are lots of parts. There's an old palace, a new palace, 3 towers and passageways. The oldest part is 12th century, and then there are additions from the 14th, 17th, and 18th century. My favorite part actually was the garden. You can visit the keep, which is the dungeon of Gilles Asselin. It's 42 meters high and 162 steps. It was built in the turn of the 13th century and part of the fortified wall of Narbonne. As you can see, the steps are totally worth it, but not for the faint of heart, because you get amazing views over the town and the nearby countryside. It's here that you can see the flying buttresses of the cathedral from the side, because when you're down below, it's super hard to see. There is the Canal de Robine and the Promenade, and the new town on the other side of the canal. The new palace was restored in 1845 and it became the Museum of Fine Arts. The old palace is under construction as an archaeology museum. It was supposed to be open 2 years ago and still hasn't. There's a story that the old, arthritic, and occasionally overweight archbishops were taken around this huge complex and up and down the stairs by mules because they found it so hard to navigate and it is so large. You have an entrance straight into the cloisters of the cathedral from the Archbishop's palace, and that itself is very pretty and has lots of ruins from the Roman age. From the cloisters, you can go straight into Narbonne Cathedral, which is dedicated to Saints Justus and Pastor. It was built from 1272 to about 1340, and it is one of the tallest cathedrals in France. In fact, it's the fourth tallest at 133 feet high and the tallest in the south of France. It was never finished because it would have meant destroying the city walls for the stone, the ramparts, and it was the 14th century and they didn't want to destroy the ramparts because it was the time of the plague. They wanted to keep the city walls to keep people in and out. They also had some money issues because, it was a time of decline during the 14th century because the River Aude was changing its course, other ports had come into being, and there was trouble with the English, as usual, so it was good to have city walls. Just to give you some perspective, Narbonne is now 8 miles inland, and this used to be a port city. So anyway, one of the things you should definitely see in the cathedral is the altarpiece, which was commissioned by a Medici cardinal who later became Pope. The importance of this cathedral is seen also in its treasury, which has lots of amazing things.
A mother and a child from the 15th century. The Madonna looks so young and the baby's face, beautifully expressive. So a chest from 1391. Check out all the colors. More treasures, including a painting of a 15th century nun who seems to have absolutely nothing to live for. Okay, so this is an ivory object from 1030 or so near Cuenca. Can't read what the rest of it is because it's all in French. But how cool.
Last on my list of things you should definitely do in Narbonne is walk through the old town. It is absolutely beautiful. It's very easy to walk around, and sprinkled throughout there are random Roman artifacts that you will see. You can go to the place where the old Roman Forum used to be. It's got an arch with a statue of the mythical founders of Remus and Romulus being suckled by a wolf. And this thing, which just screams Illuminati to me, but it is a pretty little square, and there's not very much there other than seating and stores and stuff. And then you can walk back through all the little side streets. It's very charming. You get glimpses of the cathedral complex from different parts of the old side streets. And it's a lovely place to browse and walk in the sunshine. Then you get to the newer part of town, which is actually not that new, but it's all relative, isn't it? And you cross the canal to this part, and it is also quite charming. Okay, I know I said 7 things to do in Narbonne, but I can't be in the south of France without telling you where the beach is. Narbonne Beach is about a 15-minute drive away from the town itself, so it's a bit of a drive through country roads and stuff. And it's a beautiful white sand beach. It's got a promenade and lots of kiddie stuff. The usual south of France beach vacation. So I hope you enjoyed that look at Narbonne and agree with me that it is super pretty and worth visiting. It's a lovely hidden gem in the south of France, a bit off the tourist track, and so a charming city to spend at least a day in. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please remember to leave a like, and if you like travel and travel-related content, remember to click subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.